property investment through a limited company. That's what we're going to talk about in this YouTube video. So my name's Simon Zutshi. I'm the author of Property Magic, the Amazon #1 property bestseller. I'm the founder of the Property Investors Network with 50 network meetings around the country, and I've been investing in property for 25 years. Now, when I first started to invest in property, until the mid 2015, the best way to buy property was in your own name. That was true for the majority of people. It was very tax efficient to buy in your own name. But then in mid 2015, in July 2015, the government made an announcement that they were changing the way that we as property investors are taxed on our property investment in the UK. And so what it means is that now, if you have property in your own name, which most of us did, you're going to pay a lot more tax than if you have it in a company structure. Now, prior to that, if you had it in a company, mortgages are more expensive, there weren't as many mortgage products, and it was more tax efficient in your own name. That's why people put it in their own name. But because of this new tax change, which is called Section 24, it means that most investors going forward are now buying the property in a limited company structure. So I'm going to talk a little bit about buying investment property in a company and some of the things you need to think about. So when you set up a company is a separate legal entity. You are not the company. You can be the owner, you can be the shareholder, the director, an employee, but you are not the company. And it's got a limited liability. So if something goes wrong in the company, it doesn't necessarily have a comeback on you. Now, as a director, you need to make sure the company is run properly and you put your accounts in, etc. There are some obligations you need to have as a company owner, but they're not actually that arduous when you understand them. A couple of things you think about when you set up your property investment company is that you need to make sure you set up the right type of company. Fundamentally, there are two types of property business. You might have what's called a trading business. So maybe you're doing a strategy such as rent to rent or purchase lease option, or you're selling deals to other people or doing property flips. That's called a trading business, as opposed to the other type of business, which is an investment business. So if you're holding property long-term, you're doing single-let properties, or if you're doing houses of multiple occupation, HMOs, so you're holding for long-term, that's called an investment business. If you're doing the two different activities, you might need to have two different property companies. They're treated in different ways. And it's very difficult to get a mortgage in a trading business where you'd have an investment business to get a mortgage. A mistake people make sometimes, you might already have your own limited company that might be related to your work. A lot of our clients are IT contractors. They have a limited company and their company bills the employer, and then they get a salary from their company. And that company often has money in it, and people think, right, I'll just start buying property in this company. But because it's a trading company, mortgage companies don't like that and won't lend you against that company. So even if you have a business already related to your employment, you might need to set up a separate investment business. Now, what you can do if you've got money in a limited company, whatever that is, you can take a director's loan. You can borrow some money from your company, put it into your brand new limited company that you buy your property in, and that's how you can fund your deposits. Now, one of the great things about having a limited company is that there are lots of expenses you can legitimately offset through the business. For example, if you have a mobile phone that you use for work, you can put that through the business. A lot of your travel in your car, you can put through your business. If you use one of the rooms in your home, you can obviously put that through your business as well and get a bit of deduction for the costs, the household costs. If you do property education training, you can put all of the costs into your property business and offset those costs against future profit. So it's really good to pay for as much as you possibly can from the business pre-tax profits instead of post-tax income, which is when it's in your pocket. Obviously, they need to be legitimate expenses, and if you have an accountant, an advisor, they can help you advise on what you need to do. In fact, I would suggest if you're setting up your company in the first place, you can go and buy a company online for £20, but it might not be fit for purpose. And if you want to make a lot of money in your property investing, well, you're going to make lots of money, you're going to pay lots of tax, so you want to make sure the company's set up correctly in the first place. I highly recommend all my clients speak to a property tax specialist they might pay a couple of £100, get it all set up right in the first place, which means you're going to minimize tax moving forward. Once you've set things up and you've bought things, it's hard to move things around. So it's one of those things you want to get right at the very beginning. So I do hope it's been useful for you, understanding how using a property business is probably the way to move forward for most people. Now, if you like this video, smash the like button. The more people like it, the more people see it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel, click the bell, you'll get notified when new videos come out. We have at least one new video every single week with lots of great information before you. So please put a comment below if you've got any more information you want, like it, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. In the meantime, as always, invest with knowledge, invest with skill.